Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Padres and the Phillies were rained out last night here in Philadelphia. The weather has come, but guess what? The weather has gone, and now a beautiful day for baseball in southeastern Pennsylvania as we get you ready for the second game of this series and the first game of a day-night doubleheader between the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. Welcome back to Citizens Bank Park. A lot nicer today than it was yesterday with Mark Sweeney. I'm Jesse Agler. All right, so we're going to play two today. That's always fun. And we're also going to talk a little bit about a couple of veteran additions these two teams have made in the offseason. First, for the Padres, it's the former Philly, Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, and Freddie Galvis leads the league in hugs because of Friday night. Welcome back, Freddie Galvis, to a place that gave him that first opportunity to be a big leaguer, but also a starter. And the Padres have benefited from this veteran shortstop because of Friday night. He had a very good night, a very good homecoming, so it had to feel good for Freddie Galvis. Also, offensively for the Padres, could be a boost moving forward in these two games because you know he's going to be in there.
That is Freddie, the former Philly. Phillies added Carlos Santana, the former Cleveland Indian, switch hitter, good power, good on-base percentage. Hey, he gets on, and then he gets them in. He's keeping some pretty good company.
You know what? Only coming in hitting 209, but you see the RBIs and the walk totals. That is impressive in the middle of the order. When you think of Carlos Santana, you think about production and what he has to do moving forward. Now, we saw Friday night, big 3-run home run, and he produces in the middle of the order, and they expect those big hits from Carlos Santana. That's the reason why they acquired him from the Cleveland Indians. He is a big bat that you have to fear today if you're Tyson Ross.
We saw the big home run against Clayton Richard here on Friday night. Phillies one of the series. Game 2 rained out yesterday, and now Game 2 coming up. It's the first of a doubleheader this afternoon in Philadelphia. Tyson Ross will bring his filthy slider to the mound here at Citizens Bank Park. First of 2 coming up from Citizens Bank Park. Company. By Cadillac. Visit your San Diego Cadillac dealers today. By Jack in the Box. Come try Jack's new triple cut premium burgers with a custom blend of sirloin, chuck, and brisket only at Jack in the Box. And by Evans Tire and Service Centers, home of the buy two, get two. All smiles for Freddie Galvis the other night as he returned to Philadelphia. Weather report brought to you by your always sunny Honda dealers of San Diego County. Hey, we'll take cloudy after what we had here yesterday, which was a wash. Big thunderstorms rolled through the area. They had 30-mile-an-hour winds, and there was no baseball. With Mark Sweeney, Bob Scanlon, I'm Jesse Agler. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday morning with us. And down on the field here in Philly, always expect these kinds of hijinks and shenanigans. All Carlos Eswai trying to do is get ready to bat second here this afternoon. And what's the Fanatic got? Is he putting down a golf tee? I don't know. What do you got?
I think he's just saying that Carlos Eswai is really cute.
There could be a short joke in there.
He likes the short jokes.
Yeah, he's a big short joke guy. Did I step on you by accident? Maybe that sort of thing. Eswai was all locked in. He didn't seem bothered by it at all. As mentioned, Carlos will bat second here in game one of this doubleheader. Padre lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. There's the leadoff man, Travis Jankowski. He is in center field. Manuel Margot not in the lineup today, but really some very good news on the injury front for him. You saw Suaje Myers will bat third. Hosmer, Renfro, and Galvis in the middle. Villanueva, Hedges, and Tyson Ross round out the starting nine for Andy Green's San Diego Padres here in the first game of this doubleheader. That was fun for Freddie Galvis on Friday night. You said it a few minutes ago. I mean, he now leads the league in hugs. Very popular here, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of smiles to see Freddie Galvis coming back to Philadelphia as well.
Phils take the field here at Citizens Bank Park. Nick Pivetta getting ready to start this game. He was originally going to start today's game, which was supposed to be the day game, but with the doubleheader, things get mixed up a little bit. No big deal. And you take a look at the big right-hander scouting report.
Well, inconsistency. 25-year-old from British Columbia, Canada, and you think about what he has. It's a fastball-curveball combination. Does have a slider, but really what it comes down to, when Pivetta has his fastball, and it's upwards to 97 miles an hour, that's when he is at his best. That fastball's been hit around a little bit, so it's going to be interesting to see what the Padres attack today.
Pivetta, of course, will be looking for help from the gentleman behind him. Philly defense brought to you by your San Diego Cadillac dealers.
From left to right, Hoskins, Herrera, and Williams. On the left side is Michael Franco and Scott Kingery. Cesar Hernandez at second base, and Carlos Santana, as you can see, only 7 errors. Very good and very underrated first baseman. And Knapp is catching Nick Pivetta.
Keys to the game brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Has a lot to do with Freddie Galvis. Keep that stretch going because he swung the bat very well, 3 for 4 in Friday night's game, so he needs to stay hot. And with 2 games today, always relying on your starting pitching. I think Tyson Ross has to lengthen himself and look for him to be much better with that slider today.
Andy Green said before the game he would love to stay away from using a relief pitcher in both games of the doubleheader, but hey, sometimes it's inevitable, and you kind of like using your closer in both games of a doubleheader because it means you had the lead late in both. Padres did that a couple of years ago, as I recall. Fernando Rodney picked up 2 saves in one day at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Ready to go after a long layoff, the unscheduled off day yesterday. Guys had an opportunity to recharge the batteries, including Pennsylvania native Travis Jankowski. As mentioned, he's in center field. Look, there is a real possibility we see Manuel Margot today, and after the way he exited Friday night's game, that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. Obviously, it was a scare. He had to come out of the game. A.J. Ellis, the catcher, made his first appearance in left field on Friday night, which was interesting, for only an out.
1 out, and the ball did not somehow come his way. We all thought it was going to. I think he thought it was going to. Jankowski sends this one to left field. Rhys Hoskins, himself not a natural outfielder there to make the play. And 1 out for the Canadian, Nick Pivetta, here in the top half of inning number 1. Pivetta, 25 years old, and for the, I said big right-hander, he's 6'5", 220. This is his 20th start of the year.
Well, did show very well in his rookie season, but now it's time to make those adjustments, and it's consistency, as we touched on earlier, for Nick Pivetta, that the Phillies would like to see.
He has certainly had his struggles as of late, though his last start certainly a solid one in Baltimore on last Thursday against the Orioles. He pitched into the 7th inning, allowed only 3 runs on 5 hits, walked 1, struck out 7. And that's the thing that Asuaje and the rest of the Padre hitters have to be aware of with Pivetta. I mean, even on his rough days, generally speaking, the strikeouts are still there.
Yeah, and you know what? He relies on the top of the strike zone with that fastball. If it's in the middle of the strike zone, it's going to be hit. There's not a lot of movement to his 4-seam fastball.
Sit usually around 95 miles per hour with it. And on 2-0, Asuaje slaps one deep down the right field line. Williams is heading back there, and that one's going to drop in for extra bases. Boy, all Carlos Asuaje has done since returning from AAA is hit, 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 and now some more with a 1-out double here in the top of the 1st inning.
You know, Jesse, what he has done well since he's come back is pulled the ball, and he's pulled the ball the right way. This is a mistake. You see elevated fastball. That's going to be something we're going to have to watch. But you start taking a look at Carlos Asuaje, he has very good balance in his setup, and then it enables him to work those hands and pull the ball correctly. Nice double for the Padres offense. Remember, they got off to a 4-run first in Friday night's game.
It's a very fundamental looking swing for Carlos Asuaje from the left side. Will Myers goes after the first pitch fastball.
I think offensively you come into a doubleheader and you know you're going to have a good base of at-bats for the most part if you're that everyday guy. So you want to be aggressive. I know Nick Pivetta wants to be aggressive with his fastball, as we've seen early in this matchup.
See the good numbers for Myers. He has now reached in 9 of his last 10 games. Padres have actually been hitting during this losing streak. They've lost 6 consecutive games, but it hasn't necessarily been some of the same issues they had earlier in the season. Let's take a look at StatCast, powered by AWS, and last 100 balls in play for the Padre left fielder, Will Myers. Those are not the deep fly balls, and with those, of course, you see him go out to right center quite a bit. 1-1, and we'll kind of tie it up a little bit. And he's behind in the count now, a ball and 2 strikes.
First 2 at-bats on Friday night, Will Myers looked locked in. Then he got uncomfortable as the game went on. They've been trying to pound him in with fastballs and breaking balls away.
High target, and he rips that one into very, very shallow center field. That'll be the second baseman, Cesar Hernandez, and that'll be out number 2 in the top of the 1st inning. Pivetta is one of those guys you can get to early. He has allowed 22 earned runs in the first 2 innings this year. All the rest of the innings combined, he has allowed only 27 earned runs. So he's been knocked around pretty good in the first 2 frames. Padres got the double from Asuaje. He's still at second base with 2 outs, and now Eric Hosmer coming up. Left-handed hitters have done nicely against Pivetta this year. Asuaje has already taken advantage of that and is in scoring position.
Left-handers have hit 305 clip with 6 home runs against Pivetta. That bodes well for Eric Hosmer, who has to get on a hot stretch.
He was 0 for 5 on Friday night. A couple of hits in the last game before the All-Star break. It's no secret, when he has hit, the Padres have won. When he hasn't, they haven't. And now 0-2 after Pivetta ramped that one up to 97 miles per hour. Padres went a respectable 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position on Friday night. Now trying to cash in the first inning against Pivetta. The other way, that's going to get through. And Asuaje is going to be sent. And Asuaje is going to score without a play. Padres in the first inning take the lead 1-0 on Eric Hosmer's RBI single to the opposite field.
Well, what a start for Eric Hosmer. As you mentioned, Jesse, 0 for 5 in Friday night's contest, but 2 strikes. He likes to go the other way. This is actually out of the strike zone. You see him working his hands on top of the baseball. Big RBI for the Padres, but more importantly, it's Eric Hosmer getting off to a good start.
A couple of former American League Central guys were new acquaintances over at first base. Santana with Cleveland, with Hosmer, of course, with Kansas City, and Renfroe takes the fastball for a strike. Hunter pinch hit in the game on Friday night early. Stayed in to play right field, ended up walking in the pinch hit plate appearance. And went 0 for 2 on the night after that. in the dirt. Knapp stops it, and catching defense was certainly part of the story on Friday night. Alfaro, who started for the Phils, had a rough one back there.
You know, big arm for Alfaro, which is very impressive, but it takes him a long time to get the ball out of his hands. So that coupled with some big leg kicks, the Padres have to capitalize.
Saw him running wild the other day. Part of that, of course, was Margot. Landed on the wrist in the 8th inning. Ball hit by Cesar Hernandez on Friday night. Looked like he was in extreme pain. X-rays, though, negative. And he was going to swing a bat in the batting cages earlier this morning. And if he feels okay, we might see him today at some point. That's fair, and down the line. Hosmer is going to try for third base. Renfroe's going into second, and Hoskins had a little bit of trouble getting that one back in. Second double of the inning, and now the Padres, with a couple of outs, have a couple of men in scoring position, and that guy, Freddie Galvis, getting ready to come to the plate again.
I tell you what, Jesse, the Padres have done a really nice job, even leading into the break with 2 strikes. The strikeout has been very difficult to handle at times for this Padre offense, but you could see Hunter Renfroe with 2 strikes shortening up, putting the ball in play. You see Franco, really a lazy approach to that ground ball, but the benefit of the Padres, second and third with 2 outs.
Mentioned the big night for Freddie Galvis in his return on Friday night. He was 3 for 4 with a double and a pair of RBI singles. And Pivetta ahead of him, 0-1. Freddie playing in his 101st game of the season right now. He is the active Iron Man in all of baseball. He has played in more consecutive games than anybody else, American League or National League. With the night off last night and the rain out, saw that Freddie went to the MLS game here. He checked out the Philadelphia Union. Big soccer fan from Venezuela. But behind here, in the rain, taking the soccer game on a night off.
That's impressive. That's love for the game.
Yeah, it is. Overcast today, but no real rain in the forecast until maybe later tonight. 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball hit up the middle. That's going to get through. Another 2-strike hit. Another hit with runners in scoring position. Renfroe's trying to be the second man to come in, and he gets in underneath the tag of Knapp. Knapp thought he had him. It was a little bit awkward. Looked like Hunter maybe slid a bit short with the foot. Take a look at the replay, of course, but Freddie Galvis with another big hit, and worst case scenario, a 2-0 Padre lead after half an inning.
Looked like Knapp had a really good play on the short hop throw. Very difficult because of that small catcher's mitt. But you could see him picking it on the hop and wondering if he got him on that backside.
I think he might have also had the ball in his bare hand, not the glove. And that might be an issue for him as he tried to tag him with the catcher's mitt. They're going to challenge it.
Oh, this is big because it's in the first inning. Think about Gabe Kapler and the chances, but why not on a scoring play? See where he has that ball. Yeah, I think that's going to be tough to tell. I think he's safe there. You know, not going to be able to overturn that from that angle.
Yeah.
I think Gabe Kapler's thinking is really, when it comes down to it, it's a scoring play. So why not take that opportunity?
Yeah, it's worth the roll of the dice early on. And remember, late in the game, you can always request a crew chief review on a close call. So it's not like the Phillies won't be able to review anything the rest of the day.
Here's another look. He tags him on the backside of the back.
Yeah, I don't think the ball's in his glove at this point. And I also think Renfroe's got his foot on the plate. I got safe. I was trying to coax a prediction out of you. You didn't take it. Plate umpire is the minor league fill-in, Jansen Visconti. He's on the left. Crew chief Jeff Kellogg on the right. Padres with some aggressive base running here in the top of the first.
Yeah, and you got to love that. I love Glenn Hoffman, and the reason why, because he's aggressive, but he's calculated. With 2 outs, you have to take an opportunity, especially the way this Padre offense. They come up big with that decision. There's Glenn Hoffman. There's Hunter Renfroe with a slide in. I loved how his left foot was down because sometimes you see it elevated, and that could be the difference.
Yeah, I said he came up a little bit short, but you're right. It was more that he was just trying to keep his foot flat because so many times you see the guy slide over home plate. It's a really good job by Renfroe and a really good job by Freddie Galvis, who is wearing out the Phillies.
And another two-strike hitting as well from the Padre offense.
Now Christian Villanueva becomes the 7th man to hit here in the top of the first, and the breaking ball goes over his head, 1-0.
Yeah, why I say that's important, because we touched on Nick Pivetta. It's been inconsistent for the young right-hander. So you want to jump on him quickly, and that can change all kinds of things with doubleheader today.
Yeah, you need length out of your starter in at least one game. And again, a fastball for a strike, 1-1 to Villanueva. Padres got 4 in the first inning against Arrieta on Friday. Obviously, the Phils came back with the huge second, and that was kind of the game. But another good sign here early on against the Phillies. Hung the breaking ball, and it's popped out of play behind home plate. So Villanueva with a 1-2 count, but hey, 2 strikes has not been an issue so far in this one.
You know, Jesse, we always touch on plans of attack, and you can see Eric Hosmer having those conversations with young players. But an easy plan for me against Pivetta is look for the fastball out over the plate, and you can adjust to the breaking ball.
1-2 is hit hard the other way, and that'll push foul.
Why I say that is because it's something that you can watch as the game evolves, because Nick Pivetta has not had command with his fastball. So you're looking for that fastball, and you continue to try to cover that velocity, but you can pull the breaking ball, and when he elevates that breaking ball, a lot easier to do that.
Elevated fastball again, spoiled foul by Villanueva. 25 pitches now for Nick Pivetta here in the first inning.
2-strike hitting by Hunter Renfroe, also Freddie Galvis and Eric Hosmer.
Villanueva trying to add his name to that list, has worked it to 2-2. Pivetta does not look overly comfortable right now.
Yeah, and that's because it's mentally challenging. He has the stuff, everyone knows that, but the inconsistencies of what he has brought to the table.
Finally gets the fastball past Villanueva, but the Padres with a big top of the first inning again here at Citizens Bank Park. Eric Hosmer certainly played a part. RBI single the other way with 2 outs, and a couple of batters later, boy, Freddie Galvis continues to wear out Philadelphia pitching.
To be able to get that slider, and it has to have that finish.
Now we taking over the game. Taking over. Yeah, we taking over the game. Now we taking over the game. And you know we won't stop, cause we don't feel pain.
Tyson Ross really good in his last start last Thursday against the Dodgers at home. Takes on the Philadelphia Phillies here this afternoon, and he takes the hill with a 3-0 lead. Cesar Hernandez, the leadoff man and second baseman for the Phils, is a switch hitter. And 1-1 to the second baseman. Hernandez 2 for 4 in the game on Friday night. He's now hit in 6 consecutive games, and his 2-run double in the 8th inning, the play in which Manuel Margot was hurt. But again, the news seems to be pretty good on Manny. Tyson against the Dodgers, 6 1/3, 2 runs, 3 hits, and he did not allow a hit until there was 1 out in the 6th inning. It's the high strike there, and now a full count on Cesar Hernandez. We'll get some more details on the Manuel Margot situation with Bob Scanlon coming up in just a bit. Payoff pitch is strike 3 call. Filthy slider from Tyson Ross, and 1 away in the bottom of the 1st inning. That is Tyson at his best. Philly lineup brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Hernandez down on strikes. Hoskins now, Herrera next. Santana, Williams, Franco, Kingery, Pivetta, the pitcher, will bat 8th. And the catcher, Andrew Knapp, will hit 9th here this afternoon. That good one for Tyson last time out was a nice bounce back performance. He had a couple of struggles before that. Scouting report brought to you by GMC. Let's learn a little bit more about the big right-hander.
Tyson Ross making his 20th start. This is the first start against the Phillies since August 8th of 2015. In the first start of the second half, and that's going to be interesting for that slider command and efficiency with 2 games today. As we touched on earlier, Tyson Ross has to be efficient. Might not be the strikeouts as we saw in that first at bat. 3-1 pitch was pretty important, that borderline fastball, and then he goes to his keys pitch is the slider.
Ahead of Hoskins, 0-2. And in the air to deep right. Hunter Renfroe is back. And it's gone. Home run, Rhys Hoskins on 0-2. He puts the Phillies on the board in the bottom of the 1st inning. His 15th of the season. And it'd be interesting to see if that fan was reaching over the railing. Renfroe was kind of up against the back wall as if he were expecting the ball to get to him, and it never did.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because the glove is over. These are things that I think Andy Green would love to take a look at. You see the fan with the catch, and he's leaning over the fence. It'd be hard to determine, but I think Andy would like to take a look at that.
Yeah, he's talking to the plate umpire right now. This will be a crew chief review. Andy doesn't have to use a challenge here. On the home run calls, the umpires do it themselves. And I guess the first thing they're going to do is get together and talk about it. At least 3 of them. And now they'll review it. So this could go from a home run to an out if they call fan interference. What do you got?
You see it's actually coming down, and the trajectory is going to be hard to determine. Probably a center field cam would probably be determine that. Very difficult to see there.
Uh-oh. I gotta tell you, he doesn't look too happy about it, the kid.
He's telling all his buddies to watch the telecast, see if he's on TV.
Oh, he's on TV. He might also be in the parking lot in a few minutes.
Sweet Rawlings glove he's got.
Yeah, very nice. Probably would have been better off not bringing it. It's a close one. And again, if you look at Renfroe, it's a home run. Hunter did expect that ball to come down, but I imagine they'll say there was not enough evidence to overturn it. That kid gets a break. Gets to watch the rest of this ball game. Home run, Rhys Hoskins. And a 2-run game in the bottom of the 1st inning. So an 0-2 pitch shot out the other way.
You remember the Phillies offense on Friday. They did add on a run in the 1st. And then they had a big inning in the 2nd with 6 runs.
Here's Odubel Herrera, the Phillies center fielder, goes after the first pitch and fouls it off of himself.
Well, that's not a good thing in the first game of a doubleheader. Fouling a ball off the back leg. See that big leg kick, and you see that cutter going in. And ouch. That'll slow you down the rest of the day.
Herrera hitting .278 on the year, doing a very nice job. It's a warm one. There's humidity. All that rain that came down yesterday is now going up into the atmosphere. And a ground ball right to Asuaje. Routine for Carlos. That's out number 2 in the bottom of the first inning, with Santana coming up. And the Padre defense is brought to you by Nissan.
Well, from left to right is Will Myers. Travis Jankowski gets the start with Manny Margot sitting the first game, and Hunter Renfroe in right. On the left side, Christian Villanueva. One error in the last 103 chances at third base. Freddie Galvis, Carlos Asuaje, and Eric Hosmer on the right. Austin Hedges catches Tyson Ross.
Been a little while since Austin has caught Tyson. And obviously A.J. Ellis will start game 2 of this doubleheader. We do not anticipate seeing the veteran catcher in left field again today.
That was fun to watch. Listen, if there were a couple outs that he was out there, I guarantee there was going to be a ball hit to him.
I wonder, on the one ball when he was out there, went to center, and he was in left. I wonder if he thought it was coming to him. You know, like off the bat, you see it in the area. Oh, no. Oh, and then you realize it's 300 feet away. But
that little guy on his shoulder told him it was coming to him.
Ross falls behind, 3-1 on Santana.
As A.J. Ellis probably had a lot of fun with it. I'm sure his teammates gave him a little razzing.
I want to know whose glove he used out there, because it was not the catcher's mitt. Here's ball 4 to Santana. He walks about as much as anybody in the National League not named Bryce Harper. And a 2-out base runner for the Phils. As Tyson issues his first free pass of the day, he walked 3 in his last start against the Dodgers.
Now 27 pitches for Nick Pivetta, and you see Tyson Ross already at 16 with only 2 outs. Got to be efficient today for Tyson Ross.
Williams did not start the game on Friday night, but he did end up playing most of the game after the early double switch. 2 starting pitchers on Friday did not last very long. Clayton Richard went 3. Arrieta for the Phils went 3 1/3. And with the doubleheader today, and for the Padres, an off day coming up at home on Thursday, plus the off day yesterday, they're pretty well set up for the bullpen next few days. Assuming you don't have to go crazy in one of these 2 games here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and you think about what Andy Green has to do in constructing the bullpen and how he eats up the innings. It's not about just today because they're healthy and they're rested, but it's about the rest of the week.
Williams takes inside. Hedges throw down, nearly got through Hosmer. He is not a passive observer back there, Austin Hedges. He's going to participate. Fun to watch. Misses out with the fastball, now 3-1. They talked about Ross in his last start making a little bit of an adjustment on the rubber, working more towards the first base side as opposed to the middle. Felt good about the results he got with that. See how it goes this afternoon as he issues his 2nd consecutive walk. And Bob, what do we know about Tyson Ross and where he's positioning himself on that pitcher's plate?
You know, it's interesting. It wasn't a big change, but he was starting to drift a little bit towards the third base side of the pitching rubber, and it's very slight, only maybe 4 or 5 inches. But Darren Balsley finally picked up on it. They moved him back over a little bit more towards the first base side, and he said just that slight adjustment made all the difference in the world in terms of Tyson not having to throw across his body. And it's hard to believe that that small a change can make that big a difference. But when you think about the big levers that a 6'6" pitcher has, everything gets exaggerated. So just those 4 inches allowed him to get back to a more comfortable arm slot, and it made all the difference in his last outing. Hopefully he can find that rhythm again today.
Bob, you see that adjustment on the rubber, but also at times Tyson Ross gets rotational. It almost seems like he's fallen towards the first base dugout. What can he do to get in line and be able to throw into those lanes?
Yeah, that's a constant battle, especially for big guys. As you mentioned, it all comes down to that front shoulder. When you feel like you've got to guide the ball to the outside corner, the natural tendency is to open up that front shoulder to try to get to that corner. But it's the exact opposite. You have to keep that shoulder closed to allow your arm to reach out and drive through. We'll see if that's what Darren was talking to him about.
Sixth hitter in the inning is Michael Franco. Good stuff, Bob. Thank you very much. Pitching mechanics are fascinating to me. Because like you said, you know, you're talking about 4 or 5 inches where you stand, and that can make all the difference in the world for a guy as talented as Tyson Ross. Franco 1 for 4 with a single and a run scored on Friday night. Swings at that slider, and Galvis an opportunity to make a play defensively, and he does. Freddie Galvis doing a little bit of everything in his return to Citizens Bank Park. 3-1 Padres after 1.
We also believe in Francisco Mejia. We wouldn't gone out and acquired him if we didn't. So Austin's he's got opportunity out in front of him, and he's played the game with a lot of joy over the last couple weeks. It's been fun watching him play baseball. And if he attacks a game like that, Austin's going to play baseball for a really long time. He's getting back to winning baseball in San Diego, and he's our guy.
That's Andy Green talking about his catcher, Austin Hedges, and he mentions the joy that Austin has been playing with since being recalled from AAA. And in talking to Austin, he said himself, look, I'm just more relaxed. He said, I'm not thinking as much at the plate. I'm not trying to guess. I am committing to what I think the pitch is going to be, and I'm just going for it. And it's been paying off, guys. In fact, even in 2-strike counts, we've seen the 2-strike damage today. He's hitting over 600 since his return. Guys, it's been looking good for Austin Hedges. Hopefully he can keep it going here to start off the inning.
You know what, I agree with you, Bob, and he does look a little more calm at the plate. I think Austin Hedges also has modified that leg kick. Remember, it's been big at times. That's hard to time up if you're not getting consistent at bats every single day. And for Austin Hedges, even though he is in there a lot, it's hard to maintain. As you can see, the average games caught by a catcher, it's going down. And the reason for it, it's a taxing position.
Obviously that number comes into play, or those numbers come into play with the possibility of Francisco Mejia being here at the same time as Austin Hedges. Sends that one deep the other way, but playable for Williams. And the right fielder makes the catch. One down in the top of the second inning. Yeah, I mean, Hedges, we saw him earlier in spring training and at the beginning of the season. He was working on a two-handed follow-through, and now he's back to his one-handed follow-through, which was sort of his primary thing previously. He says, I'm just trying to worry less about that kind of thing. And whatever it is, I'll roll with it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's more times that you think about mechanics. What you would like to get ideally into is mechanically in the cages and during batting practice when you're in the game. Let it work for you. I tell you what, one of the best advice I ever got was from Tony La Russa. He said, your work ethic is your strength. Let it happen during the game and then make the adjustments after the game if they're major adjustments.
That makes a lot of sense. Here's Tyson Ross. He can swing it a little bit. Takes the fastball for a strike.
Sometimes as players that you start getting into the thought process and you're taking it into the batter's box or on the pitching rubber. Very difficult to do.
Ross trying to find the foul line. And a bit too far.
Yeah, the mental challenges, Jesse, of this game are daunting. And some of them deal with it better than others. The elite players, they have the ability to just react and let their talent speak for themselves.
Pivetta threw 27 pitches in the first inning, looking for a quicker second, and a good breaking ball punches out Tyson Ross. Second strikeout of the afternoon for the Philly right-hander.
MLB At Bat is your #1 app to watch live Padres baseball. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Padres home screen icons and features such as MLB.TV, Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today.
It's always the game of the day when you're on, Sweens.
No, it isn't.
Travis Jankowski trying to drag a bunt. A little bit too close to the pitcher, though. And Pivetta makes the play, and he does have his quick top of the second. Ram trucks.
Well, bottom of the fifth, an interesting play. Carlos Asuaje tries to make the barehanded play, but Eric Hosmer's awareness and the accuracy of the throw to Austin Hedges and the brilliant tag of Austin Hedges ending the fifth inning. See that left foot influencing that slide on the back part of home plate.
There's a lot to like there. I don't even know which is the most impressive part of the play. Both Hosmer and Hedges doing a great job defensively to cut down a run.
You know what, you have the throw, which is accuracy is so important, but the blind tag at the end and the finish and the awareness of that left foot sliding over. Pretty impressive play.
Padre defense has been much improved this year as compared to last. Hosmer, Galvis, both big parts of that. Nice for these ground ball pitchers in particular. Clayton Richard Friday night especially. Luis Perdomo, who we'll see in Game 2 later today. They get their grounders. A little bit up with that slider. 2 balls at his strike to the shortstop, Kingery, who's hit in 5 consecutive games. That slider runs in. Now 3 balls and a strike.
Well, Kingery has some speed, so you got to be careful of the free passes with certain players in this lineup.
Tyson walked 2 guys in the first inning, and Kingery now with a full count, leading off in the bottom of the second. He's the guy, in essence, I guess, that has replaced Freddie Galvis.
Now, it's one of those positions the Phillies, because of the versatility of Kingery, would like to make adjustments with. Bullpen need at the trading deadline, but also shortstop position.
Strikes out here, number 2 for Tyson Ross. Let's go downstairs, check in with Bob, get a little bit more info on Manuel Margot.
Well, as you guys discussed, Manny was supposed to go into the batting cage today to see how that wrist felt. We've not gotten an update yet, but the assumption is that he wanted to play today. Andy was going to try to give him the first game off, maybe see him the second game. Andy didn't want to tip his cards too much, but the good news is, guys, it's nothing serious. He is anticipated to be able to play hopefully sometime today, but in the meantime, the Padres did make a roster move to add some depth defensively. Corey Spangenberg was recalled. Rafi Lopez was optioned back down to AAA El Paso. And of course, the 26th man, which does not take effect for game number 1 because this game was not made 48 hours in advance. Kazuhisa Makita will be available on the roster for game number 2.
Thank you, Bob. And quick work there of the pitcher Pavetta. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ross, and quickly 2 down in the bottom of the second. Did you see Margot? He was wearing the
oven mitt.
Yeah, he had the oven mitt on, like he was getting ready to slide head first in the dugout somewhere.
You know, a lot of guys are going to implement that because a lot of head first slides that you see in the game of baseball. Manny Margot implements that. Also, top prospect for the Padres, Tatis Jr. is going to probably have that because of that thumb injury he had.
Can you lift up your left hand, Manny? No? Okay. He's hiding it from us. Number 9 hitter today, the switch-hitting catcher, Andrew Knapp. He takes a fastball for a strike.
Seen Tyson getting in a groove in this second inning of work.
Coming up in the top of the third, our furry friend returns. The Fanatic's going to be in the booth. Meanwhile, Asuaje trying to make a spectacular play. Cannot. It'll be an infield single for Andrew Knapp. Low chance of success, even if that thing is done perfectly, and a great job by Asuaje just to get there.
Well, he got there to his right, went a long way, and I don't think he had a good handle to this baseball. Throws it up the line. You see Hosmer making a nice play. A good effort by Carlos Asuaje at second base.
He doesn't even look like the same guy as we talk about defense that we saw a couple of years ago when he first got up. He has really come a long way with the glove. Footwork especially, they say. Top of the order, Cesar Hernandez. Like Knapp prior, a switch hitter. And he takes strike 1.
Now, Cesar loves the ball middle, as you can see, but really working different eye levels is going to be a challenge for Tyson Ross today against Hernandez.
Struck him out the first time, and see him going after that blue right there, the top.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty important. Being able to pitch at the top of the strike zone, setting up that slider that he struck him out on in the first at bat.
Slaps this one into center field, and that'll get down in front of Travis Jankowski. Knapp took a wide turn, and they throw in behind him. But a couple of 2-out base hits here for the Phillies, and all of a sudden Rhys Hoskins coming to the plate. Last time he came to the plate, he left the yard. He's done that quite a bit this year. In terms of Philadelphia Philly history, he is the fastest guy ever to 30 career home runs. You got a Hall of Famer on that list, Chuck Klein. Did it faster than him, and of course the great first baseman, Ryan Howard.
Well, he participated in the home run derby at Washington's Nationals Park. Lost to Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs, but this young man is opening a lot of eyes because of that home run power.
Suffered a fractured jaw earlier this year, missed about a week and a half. It's unbelievable. 2 on and 2 out, and ball 1 to Hoskins, who made his major league debut last August, and he was so good he finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting.
And you see the patience at the plate, MLB leaders. He looks for that pitch. Remember, he swung 3-0 on Friday night, just hunting certain pitches. That's a reason why you'll see those averages increase.
Now 2-0.
Always impressive to see a young hitter come up to the big leagues. Yes, you're talking about home run numbers, but commanding the strike zone. So many big swings this day and age in the game of baseball. Almost violent swings and not the approach that you necessarily want in a young hitter.
Being careful with him here, and he said he swung 3-0 on Friday night, so this is not an automatic down the middle fastball if you're Tyson Ross. And has thrown 17 pitches this inning and now 40 on the game. Second time through the batting order. Like most guys, Ross sees the batting average go up against him, and by about 100 points.
Now he has the green light in this situation, and why not? He's looking for one pitch in one spot.
Hoskins from Sacramento. Tyson from Oakland. On 3-1, he reaches for it, sends it to left, and Myers gets there to make the catch and end inning number 2. 2 more left by the Phils. There's a guy from the Galapagos Islands who's very, very popular here. That's him, Philly fanatic. He's very happy. How are you? Good to see you. We did this last year. I'm still picking the green fur out of my teeth. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Doing some damage on the field today, aren't you? Carlos Asuaje. You step on him?
Small. He's batting now, too. Maybe he'll homer here for the Fanatic. Swings and misses, strike 1. All right, so we got Philly Fanatic. By the way, there is nobody who's going to work harder today with this day-night doubleheader than this. Are you a gentleman? Do I say gentleman? You don't. You just are what you are. You're the Fanatic.
Do you drink water for a doubleheader?
Oh, you got to hydrate.
Yeah.
Got to hydrate. We had a thing we're going to do for you here. Sweeney's got some pictures. Oh, I thought he was with us. He's out in the stand. Oh, no, he's back. We got some pictures here. Mark Sweeney is going to show you a picture.
I'll start with this one.
All right, it's our friend. Hold on, let's wait. We're going to wait a pitch, and then the Fanatic is going to react to the picture. So we've got the Friar there. This is your colleague.
What do you got?
He's a holy man.
That's perfect.
He's the holiest of all the mascots in big league baseball.
I like that.
I think that's fair to say. 3 balls and a strike. All right, what's next?
We know you're a big part of baseball, so we'll start you with this one after the Friar.
You doing the walk? Old, I get it. He's got
The
a walker.
old San Diego
Wow. Ted, shots fired. Suaje does launch one to deep right field. And again, a fan reaching over that railing. They're calling fan interference. And Suaje still running on his way to third base. We'll see where the umpires put him. Well, he didn't homer for the Fanatic, but he does come up with another extra base hit. Suaje doubled and scored back in the first inning. Hey, the little guy has some big power, doesn't he, Fanatic?
Yeah, you should.
Doesn't he?
You should step on him more often.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, man?
Can you keep your clothes on for us, please? You see Carlos Suaje. We talked about it in his previous at-bat about pulling the baseball correctly. The mistake and then the fan's mistake, leaning over the fence.
I wouldn't mind them taking another look at that, by the way. Hit the guy on the wrist. The Fanatic says no. He doesn't want them taking a look at it. He's fine with the lead double. No, you don't. Do you like instant replay in baseball? Yeah, I know. A little bit of time. Good breaking ball to Myers for a strike.
We have a couple more pictures. So
All right, we're going after this game. Well, no. After the game later today. We're playing 2. It's a doubleheader. After that, Padres are going to hop on a bus. We're going to go north about 2 hours to take on another team in the National League East. That's the Mets.
Yeah.
And their mascot, of course, is Mr. Met. So, Fanatic.
This is what we want to show the Fanatic.
Big
Here
head.
you go.
Big head. He can't stand up straight.
That's what you did for
Oh, he went down.
That's what he did for Bruce Bochy, the former manager
That's
of the
right.
Padres.
It's the same. Is you need help? Okay.
So you guys are good buddies, right?
Myers strikes out, one away here in the third.
Okay, we got one more for you,
Uno más.
which is really important for us. As you know, we're filling in for this man.
Mark Grant normally here.
What do you think of Mark Grant?
Buffing his head. The boiler. He is.
So you're saying he
is.
gets after the ice cream here
Oh, he's a
in the
big
press
ice-
box? Oh, that is absolutely perfect.
He, Mark Grant is on vacation. Right? What do you think he's doing on vacation? He's not a big drinker.
That's so good. So good. So what do you do on a doubleheader? You slow yourself down a little bit? Yeah. Air conditioning? Oh.
Thanks, yeah. You don't smell bad, I gotta tell you. I'm pleased. I'm appreciative.
Not again.
Oh, there it is. That's Jesse's nemesis right there. That's his kryptonite. Look at Jesse. That's so good.
All he said was, he doesn't smell bad. That was it. That was the compliment.
Yeah,
It was
there
just
it
a very
is. Oh, there it
base
is.
sort of thing, yeah. Not yet. I'm glad he's up here game 1 and not game 2.
I love hugs. They're the greatest. How about Freddie Galvis coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big
Oh.
fan. Big fan.
Do you have favorite players? Is that a thing you're allowed to do as the mascot, or you have to sort of remain, impartial like a journalist? No, I mean favorite players on the Phillies. I get it. Yes, I know. I know. You have your own. Oh, you're your own favorite player. I got it. Yeah.
So good.
Do you ever feel like you're bigger than the game? You have a bigger stomach. All right.
So what do you think of the Phillies' playoff potential?
He wants a meeting with the Friar.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah.
And Jimmy Rollins isn't coming back.
Chase Utley's coming back. He'll be here with the Dodgers soon. He's retiring after this year. Hosmer strikes out. Back-to-back Ks for Pivetta. Can you talk bad about another Padre, because you were killing a Suaje before the game? He's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else can you make fun of? Here, how about we give him who's up? Hunter Renfroe is coming up. What do you got on Renfroe? Big and strong. He's got a good arm. What do you got? You got nothing?
You like sticking with the Phillies, right? That's perfect. Yep. Perfect. Thank you. How about Gabe Kapler? New manager.
Hard hit and through for a base hit. Rounding third is Swahe. He's going to come in and score. And in the presence of the Philly Fanatic, the Padres have taken a 4-1 lead here in the third inning. Renfroe now 2 for 2 with a double and an RBI single. It'll be all right. Are you scoreboard watching?
Well, I know the Fanatic doesn't like it, but I love this. You can see the high slider that Hunter Renfroe backs up just enough. Gets past Franco for an easy RBI by the guy that you stepped on, Carlos Swahe, with a run scoring for Hunter Renfroe.
And now up again, Freddie Galvis.
He's upset.
You'll be okay. Here's your guy. You love Freddie Galvis. Galvis had the big game on Friday night, went 3 for 4 with a couple of RBI singles. He also doubled and red hot over his last 4 games overall. 2-run single his first time up today, and now with a runner on first and 2 outs, he tries to keep the line moving for the Padres here in the third. You interested in my score? Oh, he sneezed on it. You notice this year, Sweeney, I closed my computer.
Oh, yes.
Last year he was typing away, and he erased like half my notes. 1 and 2 to Galvis. Hey, Pavetta's got a pretty good fastball, huh? That comes in there. Yeah, strike. You have a favorite umpire?
Hey, what'd you do in the rain yesterday? You good in the rain? No, you're
No,
not
he's not good in the rain. He's got to avoid
You don't
the
like
rain.
it. I like it.
You're not furry.
I don't. It doesn't ruin my hair. I'm fine.
Galvis takes on the outside corner. That's the top of the third. Thank you again to the Philly Fanatic for stopping by and bringing Carlos
Our guy.
Suarez some more good luck.
Our guy.
Time now for our Valley View Casino trivia question. What is the Padre record for most doubleheaders played in a single season? I think everybody knows that one.
No.
I'm kidding.
I know you.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think of what the answer is, and I can't even come up with an
No,
answer.
I would have no idea what the answer is. It'll be interesting because obviously back in the day, as they say, there were a lot more scheduled doubleheaders. It was just kind of part of the regular, baseball schedule. And the Padres, as I understand it too, had a little bit of a reputation in the very early days of the franchise of creating doubleheaders, perhaps when they weren't necessarily necessary. They packed them in for doubleheaders back in the day, and so if there was some bad weather in the morning, we're talking 1969, 70, 71, that era, They say, oh, we'll play 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of thought process and when it comes down to rainouts, and it's going to be on the road, obviously. But I remember the last rainout in San Diego. No one knew what to do.
Into right field, a base hit for Odubel Herrera. He's 1 for 2. Lead single for the Phils against Tyson Ross here in the bottom of the 3rd.
You know, the rainout was so odd because first of all, I didn't even know they had a tarp in San Diego for that field. And obviously you think of it, but it's never on. So that comes out, and then everyone else, it's a rain delay and then a rain out. But the rain delay, everyone's looking at each other like, what do we do? Because they weren't used to it. You see the tarp of the Phillies.
They got to keep that thing out. No hiding the tarp here. It was out all day, all night yesterday. And a good slider for a strike. 0-1 on Santana. And yesterday, by the way, we really did need the tarp. It was nasty last night. Definitely would not have played. They called it early. That ended up being a good thing for everybody. And Kia drive to success involves this guy, Carlos Santana. And among active Major League leaders since 2011, he's got more home runs than any other switch hitter. Most of those coming with Cleveland, 15 with the Phillies this year, including, of course, the home run on Friday night.
Now, the challenges of being a switch hitter in the game obviously comes with benefits, but you think about the challenges of how much work you have to put in on both sides of the plate. And typically you don't have the same style from both sides.
Lined and foul down the right field side.
Now, one of those guys that I remember is JT Snow. Very good left-handed hitter, struggled right-handed. At the end of his career, he just scrapped right-handed hitting altogether. But for Santana, the former Dodger farmhand, this is a guy that loves to power the baseball, but also will take his walks.
Little bit up. Now 2-2 on Santana, who does have a good eye. And you'll have a pretty good switch hitter going into the Hall of Fame next week, along with Trevor. Chipper Jones.
Can't wait for that class, obviously headed by our Padre, Trevor Hoffman, Vladimir Guerrero.
Switch hitting thing really is amazing. We talk about it all the time, how hard it is to hit. And to be able to do it even reasonably well from both sides of the plate. It's almost hard to comprehend.
Very difficult because you usually have a favorite side as well.
Check on Herrera before the 3-2 pitch.
Jim Thome also going in that class, a former Philly.
You will be in Cooperstown, will you not?
I'm looking forward to it. Right after the Mets series, I'll head up there on Thursday.
That is another walk. Second of the afternoon drawn by Santana now. 3 issued by Ross with nobody out in the 3rd inning. Uh-oh. He's made it out.
Now we thank the Fanatic for coming up. Always having a lot of fun with him, even though you have to pick green things out of your teeth.
Very aggressive.
He's aggressive. You love that, don't you?
Williams grounds to a Suaje. And a little bit high to Galvis. He's able to get the tag down and get the 1 out. And Padres had an opportunity to turn 2 there on Nick Williams. They get Santana at second. That's all. Runners on the corners, 1 away.
Carlos Suaje going to his left. Difficult throw because you can see the footwork continuing to move. Because you have to maintain that bag, Freddie Galvis takes all the thinking out. You can see maintaining that with his right foot, but also applying the tag to get the out.
Yeah, I think Jeff Kellogg gave him the out on the bag at second, but Galvis not taking any chances. You got to be sure to get the out there, especially in the age of replay review. So a good job of kind of making sure and tagging Santana. Now Franco.
Aggressive swinging early in the count.
Ross falling behind Michael Franco. Now the 1-0 pitch and a fastball for a strike. So for Tyson now, 55 pitches, and you see that ratio not anywhere near where he wants it to be. Popped him up. Suaje calls and catches, and that's a big middle out here in the bottom of the third inning. Obviously nowhere to go for Herrera. Now runners on the corners, 2 out. And the shortstop, Kingery, who struck out in his first at bat, is going to come up against Tyson.
A good location on that fastball by Tyson Ross. Crowding Franco and get that lazy pop up to second base. Tyson has to dial it in here, and why I say that is because it's probably going to be an appearance like it's 2 strikes against Kingery, with the pitcher spot up 8th in the order. He is due up next.
Phillies do have action in their bullpen, and that could be just Gabe Kapler trying to give Andy Green something to think about, or Tyson Ross something to think about. But you see Ramos is up, and he is not afraid to go to the bullpen early. Bullpen's done a very nice job for the Phils. Good slider there, and strike 2.
Yeah, I got a call on the 1-0 pitch, and gets him into a big situation for Tyson Ross to be able to finish him with another slider, possibly.
On 1 and 2, just got a piece and fouled it, I think, off of Austin Hedges. Kingery digs back in, like Trevor Hoffman, played at the University of Arizona. 2 on, 2 out. And the 1-2 pitch is slowly rolled over, but foul at third base. Tyson trying to bear down against Kingery here in the third.
I see where you're working.
Reached for and missed, strike 3. 4th of the afternoon for Tyson Ross, who has done a good job finding those strikeouts when he has needed them. We've played 3 in Philadelphia. Padres have a 4-1 lead. Fourth inning at Citizens Bank Park. Game 1 of a day-night doubleheader. Game 2 coming your way at 3:05 Pacific time. Coverage with Mike Pomerantz, Clay Hensley, and the crew back in San Diego will begin at 2:30 this afternoon at home. Here, it'll be a 6:05 game, and that means a little bit of a late night on a Sunday. Padres will bus up to New York to open up a 3-game series against the Mets tomorrow night at Citi Field. Christian Villanueva leading off, and he takes the curve from Nick Pivetta for a called strike. 0-1 here in the top of the 4th inning. Christian up there looking for his first hit of this series. Went into the All-Star break with more homers, more RBIs than any Padre rookie ever after half a season. Sends this one straight up and behind the dish. Knapp is there to make the play, and 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. Time for the top tier plays brought to you by Arco.
Well, the Padre offense early in this game was hunting that ball up in the strike zone, even with 2 strikes. See the breaking ball that's elevated with Freddie Galvis. Carlos Asuaje with 2 doubles, commanding the strike zone at the top, and Nick Pivetta allowing those 4 runs, 3 in the first and 1 in the third.
Hedges homered off him twice in the game here last July. Flew to right field in his first at bat today. Comes after this one and fouls it straight back. Last 11 games for Austin. A lot of hits. Slugging nicely. Couple of bombs. We talked about it earlier. He just seems a lot looser.
Yeah, better approach with the 2 strikes. I think Austin Hedges is coming into his own.
Chopper over to third base. Franco coming in on it. He makes that play look routine. And 2 down in the 4th. Going to answer our Valley View Casino trivia question here. I had no idea. I mean, you could have told me any number and I would have believed you.
I'm going to say 9.
All right. Oh, no, I think way more. Padres record for most doubleheaders played in a single season.
Well,
20.
9 plus 11.
That's what you meant?
That's a lot.
71. Well, you knew it had to be early on. I figured it was one of those first couple of years. That's a lot of doubleheaders. But they used to be the traditional doubleheaders for the most part.
I love doubleheaders. I'll tell you why. It's pretty strange. But I was a bench player. And when you're a bench player and you're playing at least 18 innings, you're going to get some opportunities. The depressing thing was when you weren't in the lineup for both games.
Or either game, right.
That's not good.
What about, doesn't he need a, no? Okay.
No.
All right.
So it could work both ways. A.J. Ellis probably going to be the starter in the 2nd game.
Oh, you can count on that. Unless he somehow injures himself on the bench in game 1. He will start game 2 of this doubleheader. Probably see Hosmer, Galvis in game 2. Anything else could be up for grabs.
Everyday Freddie, come on. That's a slam dunk.
As much as Ellis.
There's Freddie. Big return home to Philadelphia.
Tyson ahead of the count. And Ross takes strike 2.
You know, I say home because when you start your career in an organization, it is very strange to go somewhere else. He's embraced San Diego, loves San Diego. But coming back here, this is where you grew up. Larry Boa was here, the former shortstop, came over. Freddie Galvis credits Larry Boa influencing a lot of his career.
Ross strikes out for the 2nd time today. That's now 6 for Nick Pivetta. Yeah, a little bit hot. How about all hits are extra base hits?
Yeah, that's impressive. Also, of the 8 home runs, 4 of them against left-handed pitching, but also yesterday, the back end of the doubleheader, it was a pinch hit home run.
Jason.
So impressive by what Matt Carpenter has done, but go back to April, he was hitting 145 after April.
That's one of the most interesting things about it to me, is that all of this is really coming on the heels of a very legitimate slump. Look out. Pavetta's bat makes it all the way into shallow left field. That's strike 3, by the way. And now 5 strikeouts for Tyson Ross with 1 out in the 4th inning. But, I mean, he was struggle, and then all of a sudden it was like a switch got flipped, and now he's the hottest guy in all of baseball.
Yeah, you think about it, too. The veteran player that you have to rely on your work, and I've heard a lot of interviews with him, obviously, in this hot stretch, and he said, you know what, I had confidence all the way through. I trusted my whole process and the way I work, what I do before games, and it was a matter of time. He didn't expect this, but it's been pretty impressive for the Cardinals.
Well struck into right field, but Renfroe is right there. And Knapp, the number 9 hitter, lines out to right. It's been 11 days since Matt Carpenter has singled. So what has been the secret to his success? You're pointing to hard work and adjustments. I have an alternative theory.
Yes.
Okay. Apparently during his slump, Adam Wainwright paid somebody to go into Carpenter's backyard, plant a garden. This is true. And vegetables. And one of the things Carpenter's been doing now is using those vegetables to make homemade salsa. And they are crediting the salsa as the thing that sort of has kick-started him offensively.
Well, Texas guy, you know he loves his salsa. Why not? But you know what? Wade Boggs loved his chicken. Why not have salsa? Whatever works. You don't want to ruin those hot stretches. You want to lengthen them out.
You got to figure it's hot salsa, obviously, because of how hot the bat has been. What about you? Did you ever get into any sort of food-involved superstitions?
No, but when things went well, I tended to try to do the same thing, but it didn't work as well as Matt Carpenter for me.
You never homered in 6th straight?
Oh.
It is remarkable, by the way. I mean,
that's stuff you do in Little League.
Yeah.
Stuff in high school, leading up to that. At the big league level,
homering in 3 straight is impressive, and 6 all the more so. Is that going to stay fair for Hosmer? It is not. He was looking at the home plate umpire, because that's his call in front of the bag, but the call was eventually made by the first base umpire behind Eric. They'll say foul, 2-2.
As Clay touched on, this is the St. Louis Cardinals that are 8.5 back in the division. So you need to have that stretch. The Cardinals play another game today in Chicago. Miles Michaelis, the All-Star, against Jose Quintana. But that's an impressive stretch for an individual player.
They will play the 5th and final game of their series at Wrigley coming up in a little bit this afternoon.
You know, the Cardinals made an adjustment. Mike Matheny gets let go as manager. So the adjustment is, hey, we have to make a run.
2-2 is grounded to Asuaje. A little bit of an in-between hop, handled nicely. And for the first time this afternoon, Tyson Ross retires the Phillies in order.
2008, Game 4 of the National League Championship Series. Padres hitting coach Matt Stairs getting all of that 3-1 fastball from Jonathan Broxton, puts it into the right field pavilion, and the Phillies take a 7-5 lead in the 8th inning. They end up winning that game. They took the series 4-1, went on to win the World Series over the Tampa Bay Rays. But talking to Matt about that home run, he said, look, I hadn't hit in about 6 or 7 days, but the batting practice I took that day, I was absolutely locked in. I hit about 30 balls out of the ballpark, so he felt good going into that one. I said, what were you thinking as you were going around the bases? He said, one thing, don't trip. And Sweens, I think you remember that home run.
I do remember
it.
Yeah, I was not on the playoff roster because I hit my way out of it, but I got to watch Matt Stairs, and that was depressing being in a Dodger uniform. But what a moment for Matt Stairs, talking with it. He described the beginning of the at-bat, and he said, you know what, it seemed like he was throwing 89 miles an hour.
Another pop-up, and Jankowski will be put out by the third baseman Maikel Franco, one away in the top of the 5th.
And he said the first couple of pitches he looked up and he saw 94, 93, and he said, I just slowed down. Everything just felt so comfortable, and I knew I was going to do something. And that's that moment as a hitter that you feel really good, no matter if you're a pinch hitter or you're getting the start. But obviously, in the history of the Philadelphia Phillies, that was one of the biggest hits coming off that bench.
A couple of big hits today for the guy at the plate now. Carlos Isuaje, pair of doubles, and twice has come in to score. For the game, the Philly fanatic was making fun of Carlos Isuaje's height, and Carlos has shown him 1-1 from Pivetta. So very locked in at the plate, and you never quite know how a guy is going to react when he gets sent down to AAA. But Isuaje really worked on a lot of things, they said, down there, and he has come up and had results, which is the main thing at the big league level. First time up, first inning, 1 out, bases empty, just strokes it. Great looking swing for extra bases, and then in the 3rd, how about another?
I actually thought this one was going to leave the building. You see the fan interference, which that's the double. But swinging a hot bat is Carlos Isuaje.
Now 7 strikeouts for Nick Pivetta. When his 2 previous starts against the Padres combined to strike out 20.
Nick Pivetta is getting the good feel of the breaking ball, but also the fastball has better location and finish.
Pivetta, for the first time really last inning, seemed to settle into a groove. You could say the same about Tyson Ross. Here's Myers with 2 outs and the bases empty, and he takes a fastball for a strike. And it's something we talked about on Friday night with both Arrieta and Clayton Richard that we probably should be talking about again. I mean, it's been a little while for both Nick Pivetta and Tyson Ross. They each last worked last Thursday, so over a week ago, because of the All-Star break.
Most players, Jesse, are creatures of habit, and they like routine. And routine for a starting pitcher is the 4 days rest, and then you take the ball, and that's what you're used to. And when you're too strong and you don't have that good feel for the breaking ball, that gives you challenges. And you can see Pivetta struggled at the beginning of the game. Now he's getting good feel for it and actually executing his pitches, along with Tyson Ross.
Yeah, a couple of guys who really lean on their breaking pitches, the curve for Pivetta and the slider for Tyson. Got Myers. 8 strikeouts for Pivetta, who has now retired each of the last 7 Padre hitters. 2-3 in the fourth. Now he's got Rhys Hoskins, Odubel Herrera, Carlos Santana, 2, 3, and 4 in the Philadelphia batting order.
Well, Tyson Ross only 12 pitches his last frame.
Hoskins supplied the only Philadelphia run of the day back in the first inning with his 15th home run of the season. It was an opposite field shot. It was reviewed by the umpires in New York City via video technology to determine whether or not it was fan interference. They left it as it was. Close. And this one's hit well out the other way. Renfroe again going back. Again at the wall, and this time it's in and out of his glove. Hunter can't make the catch, and Hoskins trots to second base just ahead of the tag from Galvis.
Well, he looked like he drifted a little bit. The swing by Hoskins, again, going that right center approach because of that slider in the back of his mind. But you see Hunter Renfroe with a flash look. Didn't look like he got back to the wall. As an outfielder, go back to the wall, feel it with that right hand. And because of that, it clanks off his glove. To me, I think that's an error. It's a ball that you have to catch at this level.
The official score has given him a double, but
that's some home cooking, in my opinion.
Herrera grounded out his first time. That single was in his last at bat, leading off the third inning. Now he bats with a runner in scoring position in the bottom of the fifth.
You know, Jesse, you go back to that play by Renfroe. This is a small outfield, so you typically play deeper because there's not a lot of space to cover. So that allows you to be able to get back to the wall earlier. See Hunter Renfroe only a couple steps from that warning track. So what you have to do is really get back to the wall and work your way back into the playing surface. Not a huge outfield here at Citizens Bank Park.
There's nothing too quirky. You know, that center field fence, I remember Aaron Rowan going face first into it. They have the chain link and the padding, but everywhere else you pretty much know what you're going to get surface-wise as an outfielder. Padded wall and left, chain link and right. This one hits him. Fastball got away from Tyson, and they're going to have runners on first and second with nobody out in a 3-run game. So 3 walks issued by Tyson Ross, and now this hit by pitch.
Yeah, this is a cutter they just pulled in and sees that back left calf. Remember, he fouled the ball off his back leg his first at bat. So that left leg has been taking a beating today.
You do not often see a guy get hit like that in that part of that leg. And he's trying to get out of the way, to his credit. Able to stay in the game. Now a dangerous situation with Herrera limping to first. Hoskins already at second. And big Carlos Santana coming to the plate.
Dangerous spot in the lineup with Carlos Santana. Remember the 3-run homer in the first game on Friday night. He starts hunting pitches, especially with the amount of pitches he's seen already today in his first plate appearances. 2 walks.
Talked a lot about his patience, but there you see it. I mean, this is a guy who's driven in 56 runs this year. 44 have come in these situations. He's done a great job with runners in scoring position. And he turns more aggressive with guys on and takes a strike there. Nice pitch from Ross right on the edge.
Really comes down to how he can set up that 2-strike slider. That's a good start to the at-bat.
Coming in, left-handed hitters 291 against Ross, and this could be 2. Suaje, a little bit of trouble getting it out of the mitt. Galvis' throw will not be in time. A little bit of what we saw back in the third inning. After the fielder's choice, you'll have runners on the corners, 1 away.
Now the exchange took a while for Carlos Suaje. This was a hot smash. could see the pitch elevated and him getting around it, but it was a one hopper to Carlos Asuaje. Two hopper, and he had some time. Take a look at the turn. Carlos Asuaje, extra step, allowing Carlos Santana to hustle down the line, preventing that double play.
So Santana boarded first base, runner at third, Hoskins. And the first pitch to Nick Williams is a fastball for a strike. Williams has gotten the uniform dirty already today. Phillies 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position so far this afternoon. Swings here, lines it over Ross. It's deflected to Asuaje. That's one, and not in time with a run scoring. Hoskins was not running on contact from third base, but once he saw the Padres try and turn the double play, he took off and got the second run of the day.
Yeah, he had to freeze because Tyson Ross gloves this and it ricochets off, allowing Williams to beat out that double play. Galvis did everything he could to get as much as he could on that ball. And when you have the hesitation, Hoskins easily slides in for the second run.
It's now 2 outs. Williams at first base and Franco at the plate 0 for 2. Slider is down, and a nice stop by Hedges.
Yeah, Jess, you got to go back to that Rhys Hoskins leading off the inning with that double. I thought Hunter Renfroe, if he catches that ball, it's a different inning.
Yeah,
it's a different mindset. That's a reason why I allude to it.
It's a big play in this game. I don't think there's any question about that. And now Tyson Ross is trying to limit the damage to the 1 run here in the 5th. Another check on Williams, who's stolen a couple of bases but also been caught twice this year. Tyson's been living at the top of the zone for much of the day. Franco loves the ball up. And this one is backhanded by Villanueva. Long throw across the diamond, scooped by Hosmer, and the Padre defense comes up big to end the bottom of the 5th inning. Christian Villanueva getting better and better defensively at third base. Hang a star on that one. Padres lead by 2 headed to the 6th. Company by Hyundai. Get a great deal more than a great deal on all new Hyundai vehicles. See your Hyundai dealer today. And by Mozzie Heating and Air, San Diego's choice for heating, cooling, and solar.
All right, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 meaning really good, how was that kiss with the Fanatic?
That's a 1. That's a 1. Not good. Not good at all. I appreciate, I guess, the sentiment behind it. That's about it.
There's a lot of love he's showing.
Yeah, he's not a hater, which I appreciate. You know, it's the city of brotherly love. Eric Hosmer leading off, RBI single in the first inning. Padres holding a 4-2 lead here in Philadelphia. Eric, part of a 3-run first against Nick Pivetta, who has certainly settled in, retired each of the last 7 Padres to come to bat.
Well, what a pick on that back end to end that last half of an inning. On that really nice play by Christian Villanueva.
We showed something earlier in the game. You know, the error numbers are down for Villanueva. It's not just that, though. I mean, you see him making plays he wasn't making earlier in the season, and he's kind of gotten the opportunity to play every day. And, you know, for some guys, that can make a huge difference.
Sure does. Just a flow of the game, being able to have confidence that you know you're going to be in that lineup. That says something, too, for Andy Green and his staff, the communication they've had with Christian Villanueva. As Andy Green always talking to the players and informing them when they're playing, when they're not. You know, those old school managers that were in the game for so long, they tended not to do that.
Yeah, the idea was always kind of, look, if your name is on the thing, you're playing. And if you're not, you're not. I don't need to tell you anything else.
I tell you what, I mean, it was one of those things that they expected, and their philosophy was, you get ready to play. I'll tell you when you're playing. Nowadays, with Andy and all the young managers in the game, the communication is first and foremost the most important thing you can have.
Hosmer battling here against Pivetta to start the 6th. Renfroe and Galvis to follow. Pitch number 85 of the day is lined into center field for a base hit. Hosmer is 2 for 3. And the leadoff man aboard as Eric took a very wide turn around first base. Padres looking to get at least that 1 run back. They allowed in the bottom of the 5th inning, and here comes Hunter Renfroe, who's had a nice day at the plate so far. Doubled and scored back in the 1st inning, and an RBI single in the 3rd.
Yeah, for Hunter Renfroe, just being able to handle right-handed pitching. We heard so much about that and the adjustments he had to make. Well, today looking very comfortable in the batter's box.
He had that misplay in the bottom of the last inning that allowed the Phillies to rally and get a run. And here he swings and misses. Pivetta trying to get Renfroe for the first time here this afternoon. Able to lay off. Throw back to first. Hosmer retreats easily. Hunter's numbers really have gotten better and better. The split's less extreme, you know, versus left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching. See that open stance now. It's a different look for Hunter Renfroe. What do I say? It just gives him a better kind of line of sight when the ball comes in.
Yeah, and it really has a lot to do with minimizing him getting out of the strike zone, especially that slider. Putting 2 eyes on that release point. And when you're closed up, Jesse, sometimes you don't see out of both eyes. You see a little bit, but you don't see that release point. That can relax you to many things. But for him and his success, it has a lot to do with staying off that slider.
Not able to right there, and 9 strikeouts now for Nick Pivetta. Freddie Galvis coming up. He's had a great series at the plate and in the field. This was the trade that brought him to San Diego from Philadelphia mid-December of last year. And Yel De Los Santos, hard-throwing right-handed pitcher, sent to the Phils. He's had great success at AAA this year, a couple of major league starts. They actually optioned him down to AAA before this series began on Friday. Galvis, a 2-run single back in the first inning after the big game on Friday night. And playing as good of a shortstop as we've seen from a Padre in quite some time.
Well, had a very good career with the Phillies. Obviously had a 3-year stretch, 3+ years of starting at shortstop. I think that's important for the Padres moving forward, and why you get rid of a talented right-hander in De Los Santos. You get stability at a premier position at shortstop. It's been a tough position for the Padres to get consistency with. And defensively, he's been as advertised.
Just a bit inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Galvis. Checking Glenn Hoffman. Now 2-2 on Galvis. Second time this afternoon. Dubry Ramos up and throwing for the Phils as Pivetta continues to run the pitch count up here in the 6th. Galvis kind of floats that one into shallow right, and it'll get down. Williams comes over to retrieve it. Hosmer got the good read. He's going to make it all the way to third base. And Freddie Galvis with another hit, his 5th of the series. Padres with runners on the corners, 1 out, and Christian Villanueva coming to the plate.
You know, Freddie Galvis has a smile on his face because he gets jammed on this pitch, but it's with 2 strikes. You know, Pivetta has that fastball. You can see him fighting that barrel to try to get enough of that and dumping into right. But Eric Hosmer seeing that read and advancing to third base. Very important with 1 out. Aggressive style of running, and the Padres hoping to add on.
If they do, they will do so not against Nick Pivetta. Pitching change here in the top of the 6th inning. The Philly right-hander departs after 94 pitches thrown. Padres threatening for more in the 6th. For more as we take a look at our Fan Diego fan of the game. It's nice. Padre fan, Philly fan hanging out together, taking in game 1 of a doubleheader. on a Sunday in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Look very cordial today.
Runners on the corners, 1 out, and Christian Villanueva at the plate. New pitcher, Dubrai Ramos.
Well, Ramos has been excellent with runners in scoring position, especially of late. Only allowing 9 hits in those situations. Only 1 extra base hit.
Breaking ball high to Villanueva. Yeah, he's really had a phenomenal season for the Phils. However, on their last road trip, he really did struggle for the first time this season. So we'll see if that kind of carries over to this appearance. We did not see him on Friday night. Christian out in front, fouls it back. 1-1.
Got away with a mistake there was Ramos.
'25-year-old from Venezuela. Made his major league debut at the Phils back in 2016. Worked last year as well, and he's been an everyday kind of guy almost for Gabe Kapler here today. That one nearly got away from Santana.
Oh, nice play by Santana. Touched on his defense, an underrated defensive first baseman. Now you see him just reacting, but just being able to keep that ball in play.
Good vertical leap. 2 balls and a strike to Villanueva.
Now for Christian Villanueva in these situations, RBI situations, big part of the field has to be that priority. No, he would love to have the 3-run homer, but he can also do it the big part of the field. He has that power.
Galvis and Hosmer lead at the corners. And Villanueva pops it up. Shallow center field. That's Hernandez, the second baseman, going back, and he will be called off and not make the catch. Hosmer is going to come in to score, and the Padres get one on a defensive letdown by the Phillies. It certainly looked like Cesar Hernandez at least thought he was called off by the center fielder Herrera, and he just stopped. And
oh, you got to love it here, Jesse, for the Padres, because no sunglasses on a day like this. There's clouds in the sky, but also the sun, and this ricochets off his right shoulder. But I don't know why you do not wear sunglasses, especially this day and age, when it is a thing that you can either wear the Oakley sunglasses or maybe even the flip downs.
It'll be an error, and that brings home the 5th Padre run of the afternoon. Caught a break, and now runners on first and second for the number 8 hitter, Austin Hedges.
Some things, it just drives me crazy. Those type of things.
Hedges is flown out and grounded out.
Oh, that's a good take by Austin. Good breaking ball by Ramos. Getting into a hitter's count.
Now 2 balls and no strikes on Hedges. Tyson Ross is in the on-deck circle, but the Padres have Matt Strom up in the bullpen. So it could be a situational kind of decision for Andy Green, whether he sends Ross back out to work in the 6th inning or pinch hits for him here in the top half. Hedges swings and misses at the fastball, now 2-1. There's Matt Strom.
I think Andy Green would love to try to extend the lead here in this situation. If they do that, I think Tyson stays in the game.
Looking for a hit by Hedges. And on 2-1, he takes the breaking ball for a strike at the top of the zone. 2-2 on the Padre catcher. Here's what I'm thinking. And here's Franmil. Full count now on Hedges.
Has certain gamesmanship. You can see Reyes going in now. Some pitchers will even peek over to that on-deck circle, influence a certain situation. Tyson Ross continues to wear the helmet.
It may hinge on whether or not Hedges gets a base hit here. In the air, left field. Hoskins calling, catching, 2 away. Time now for our Lowe's whole team together. And this Philadelphia bullpen this year has done a really nice job for Gabe Kapler. And in the month of July, a 2.28 ERA, lowest in all of baseball. And look at some of the guys who are out there on a regular basis.
Some of the experts around baseball, even with that success, say that the Phillies would like to add to their bullpen, maybe a veteran arm. But that sure helps the experience of these young pitchers out of the Phillies bullpen.
So it will be Franmil Reyes, not Tyson Ross, with 2 on and 2 out. Reyes pinch hit in the game on Friday night, came through with a single. That was in the 6th inning, so is this. And the fastball is in.
Oh, nice effort by Tyson Ross today. Had a better feel for the slider later in his outing.
We talk a lot about pinch hitting, and we were discussing it earlier with Matt Stairs. I mean, for a guy like Franmil Reyes, and he's not alone, his whole life he's been a middle of the order hitter.
Yeah.
And you get to the big leagues, you're facing the toughest competition you've ever faced, and have fun pinch hitting. That's a different thing.
The difficult part is these pitchers will throw any pitch at any time when you're pinch hitting. You don't have a feel for the game yet. And a lot of it has to do with the breaking ball. If you get into those hitters counts, they're not just going to feed you a fastball. My opinion is when you're in these situations, you have to hunt the fastball on the plate. When you're getting starts, you can take and pick and choose what part of the plate you're looking for. Not in this situation.
Going to get a mound visit now with Reyes just sort of hulking around the on-deck circle. Actually, you're going to get a visit by a member of the training staff. Ramos, excuse me, should be out of this inning. There's a drop pop-up. Should have been the 2nd out. Then he got Hedges to fly out. Now he's dealing with Franmil Reyes. They did have Victor Arano throwing in their bullpen. That's Austin Davis, we saw on Friday night. It looks like Ramos is going to try and throw a couple of pitches here. You know, I just noticed when the catcher Knapp was going out there, he kind of turned to the dugout. It was almost as if he were pointing to his right knee, or maybe he saw something with the leg. There you go. He's kind of hobbling around a little bit.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's a pretty good indicator that he's not going to stay in this game. Mid at bat here, 2 balls and a strike, and yeah, he's going to flip the ball to a teammate, and that'll be the afternoon for a Dubry Ramos. So the Phillies going to make a pitching change here with the injury in the top of the 6th inning. Padres have a 3-run lead, and they are looking for more with 2 outs.
Well, I was always raised to be a pitcher, not just a thrower. So command and control has always been a big part of my game, and being able to command not just my fastball, but also my off-speed pitches has been, it's who I am.
Mike Pomeranz sat down with Hosmer, Myers, and Lauer to get their take on the first half of the Padres 2018 season and what they expect from the second half on Inside San Diego Sports. That is Tuesday, following Padres Live, the post-game show. Eric Lauer will be on the mound tomorrow in Game 1 against the New York Mets. He is scheduled to go up against Zach Wheeler. And take a look at the Mets. They are struggling this year. They got off to that unbelievable start at the beginning of the season. But since then, things have fallen apart a little bit as Rubel Cabrera's name has been kicked around a lot in trade talks. Brandon Nimmo has had a nice little season. And look, you always know what you got in Syndergaard and DeGrom. And their names even have been out there a little bit in the trade conversation. But it seems like almost every year the Mets find themselves in the middle of some injury, I don't want to say debacle, but some injury controversy, and that's the case again this week with Yoenis Cespedes, and it's never boring in Flushing, Queens.
Yeah, Juris Familia, the closer, got traded to Oakland A's. So you know they're pairing their roster, and the big thing is where will DeGrom and Syndergaard go if they go?
Trevor Plouffe on to play third base as part of a double switch here in the 6th inning. The new pitcher is Austin Davis, left-hander. Saw him in the game on Friday night. He was the first man out of the bullpen for Jake Arrieta, who went only 3 1/3. Mid at-bat pitching change after the injury to Ramos. So now 3 balls and a strike on pinch hitter Franmil Reyes.
It gets in a good count, and you can see the 2-1 changeup. Very good strikeout numbers for Austin Davis.
Villanueva at first base, and at second there's Freddie Galvis, and ball 4. That is the first walk issued by a Philadelphia pitcher here this afternoon, and it's going to load the bases with 2 outs, and Travis Jankowski coming to the plate. So Travis has some family and friends in town, Lancaster, where he grew up, about 2 hours west of here. It's Amish country. Padres and Phillies getting together for the first time this season. Phils will be in to Petco about 3 weeks from now. And the Phillies here this weekend becoming the last National League team that the Padres have faced this year. They've seen everybody else. Galvis at third base, Villanueva at second, and Franmil Reyes over at first. Not the 3 fastest Padres. And the 1-2 to Jankowski is ripped inside the bag, down the line. That's going to go all the way to the right field corner before Williams is able to dig it out. Forget everything I said about speed. No, Reyes now going to slam on the brakes and return to third. Jankowski out at second. Travis thought Reyes was going. He went for third, and he had to slam on the brakes, get back, and unable to do so in time. 2 more runs cross the plate, though, as the Padres add on in the 6th. Padres now a 7-2 lead in Philadelphia. Matt Strom on to pitch. He relieves Tyson Ross, who is in line for his 6th win of the year. Tyson went 5, allowed a couple of runs. And now Strom making his 20th appearance of the season, 15th in a relief role. And he's done a really nice job this year.
Matt Strom is that hybrid, obviously, with the starts as you talked about, but having the ability to pitch out of the bullpen in these situations, he's been very aggressive of late.
Number 7 hitter, Scott Kingery, going to lead it off. And then Trevor Plouffe and Andrew Knapp. This is 7, 8, 9 in the Philadelphia batting order. And Strom's first pitch of the day, a little bit outside, 1-0.
You think about the managing of Andy Green the last half of an inning. Being able to take out Tyson Ross, who was pretty good today in his outing. Taking that opportunity, and Jankowski coming up with a big hit.
Good slider for a strike, 1-1.
Those add-on runs are so important. Nice at bat by Travis against the lefty.
Out in front and unable to keep that one fair. Did it hit her? That's a long run. Swing and a miss. Matt Strom strikes out the first guy he sees. Kingery with 3 Ks. You were talking about the great AB by Travis Jankowski.
Yeah, if we look at pitch by pitch, and this is something that Travis Jankowski is going to have to command. The good slider on the outside part, can't do anything with that. Then the fastball sets up the rest of the at bat, in my opinion. The slider and then the mistake slider. Down and in, and Travis keeps that fair for 2 big RBIs. Does get thrown out rounding second base, but another big at bat by the young center fielder.
Plouffe now at the bat for the first time today. Came in as part of a double switch to play third base in the top of the inning. Playing in only his 4th major league game of the year. Last season, the former Twins split time between Oakland and Tampa Bay. Hit 198 with 9 homers. First round pick by Minnesota all the way back in 2004. Popped up in the big leagues for the first time 2010 with the Twins through 2016. Now 32 years old. Strom gets a call, and now ahead of Plouffe, a ball and 2 strikes.
I think it has a lot to do with the glove side command for Strom. Especially against right-handers, he can pitch in off the plate, setting up the off-speed stuff.
Way inside.
Yeah, I love that because it's a direction that makes it uncomfortable for these hitters. See if he goes with the off speed here.
Looks like that'll be the case, and on 2-2, a little bit outside. Payoff pitch, and Plouffe sends it in the air straightaway center field. Jankowski is tracking it. Wind is blowing out to center. Travis gets there, though, to make the catch, and that is out number 2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Strom worked 3 innings in his last time. That was the longest outing of his career. And you said it, kind of that hybrid role. They can use him as a starter, maybe in a bullpen game type situation. They can use him as a long reliever. They can use him situationally.
Yeah, and you think about the injury that he's gone through mentally, this is a good year for him to just get his legs underneath him. Not just injury-wise, but being able to feel comfortable in a Padre uniform. He looks very good out of the bullpen, but I think Andy Green would like to see him in the rotation.
Guess they wouldn't mess with that till next spring.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to go into the starting rotation because of the good secondary stuff. Has the ability to pitch 3 times through the order. You know, most of those relievers are 2, maybe 3 pitches that they have. Strom has the ability to throw 4 and also give you different looks with all 4 of those pitches.
Pretty good looking pitch. They don't get the call now. 2-1. Strom asking the plate umpire if he was up. Knapp had an infield single back in the second, and he lined out to right in the fourth. Northern California guy like Tyson Ross. Played collegiately at Cal. Tyson went 5. And now Strom has run the count full with 2 outs here in the 6th. Tried to hold up. Oh! Ball 4. I thought he went. So did Austin Hedges and Matt Strom, both of whom started going to the third base dugout. So 2-out walk to Andrew Knapp, now top of the order. And Hernandez coming up.
Yeah, looks like he held up. Another reason why you choke up with 2 strikes. Being able to handle the barrel of the bat. James Hoy, the first base umpire, makes the right call.
Yeah, I stand corrected. So now Cesar Hernandez will bat right-handed for the first time today. And a good curveball for a strike. 0-1. Hernandez 1 for 3 against Tyson Ross. Struck out looking to open the bottom of the first inning. Since then, that single and a ground ball to second base. 0-2. Hernandez now with a 7-game hitting streak. Behind in the count. The pitch from Strom is high. Should be the inning. Freddie Galvis, easy as pie. Padres by 5 after 6. Padres strike right off the bat. Eric Hosmer's bat, in fact, that's an RBI single to the opposite field. Made it 1-0. Freddie Galvis coming up. A couple of batters after that. That'll get home 2. Freddie Galvis continuing to torture the Phillies in his return to Citizens Bank Park. 2-run single in the first. Bottom of the inning, though, the Phillies get 1 back. Rhys Hoskins, an opposite field home run, his 15th of the season. Padres, though, would pretty much keep the Phillies at bay with Tyson Ross on the mound. And then in the top of the 6th inning, Travis Jankowski with a 2-out, 2-run double. And that really opened things up for the Padres, who have a 7-2 lead as we get ready to start inning number 7 here in Philadelphia. Another guy who's had a really nice afternoon is this guy, Carlos Asuaje. Couple of doubles, couple of runs scored, and he's out in front of the left-handed reliever, Austin Davis, 1-0. Phillies won their 54th game of the year on Friday, as Asuaje lines that one just foul down the right field line. Last year, they won 66 games. 54 now on this season. They've played 1 since the All-Star break, and Gabe Kapler's guys already encroaching upon last year's win total.
Yeah, not a great start for Gabe Kapler, I think, in his first managing stint, but of course they have righted the ship. And they are very relevant in this NL East, and that's a good sign, because I think with the prospects that they have, both at the big league level and down in the farm, they're going to sustain it.
On the outside corner, strike 3 called to Asuaje. That's out number 1 in the top of the 7th.
Carlos Asuaje being able, it looked like he was looking for that slider that Jankowski got. A perfect fastball by Davis.
Myers 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Fouls the first one off the catcher, Knapp. Might need some new gear. Perhaps just an adjustment. Let's see. Swap it out.
I see Will Myers fouling this ball off right at the top of the mask. Actually picks up speed when you foul it off like that.
It's got that spring-loaded mask. You can see it there. It's for shock absorption, just for balls like that. So he's ready to go, and the 0-1 to Myers misses. Only the Cubs have a higher winning percentage at home this year than do the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, and you know what the Phillies, what's been impressive is if it's a really good pitcher they're going against, the Max Scherzers of the world, DeGroms, they're actually better. They played down to their opponents in a lot of people in this organization's opinion. But that's just growing pains for a lot of young players. But now they're relevant, and that's exciting for this franchise.
I was going to say, that sounds like something a young team would struggle with much more than a veteran team.
Yeah, and you wonder, what are the choices and why? Rhys Hoskins has a lot to do with it. Scott Kingery.
Myers strikes out for the 3rd time this afternoon. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 7th for Davis. Now 11 strikeouts for Philadelphia pitching this afternoon. Pivetta had 9 Ks in his 5 1/3, and you mentioned it, Gabe Kapler's guys have the youngest active roster in all of Major League Baseball.
You know, knowing Gabe Kapler and the personality that he has, he doesn't use that as an excuse. He makes sure that these guys are talked to. Talked about the communication that Andy Green and a lot of these young managers have to have. Gabe Kapler is exactly that. That's the reason, first and foremost, why he got this spot. Because he's such a good communicator.
Hosmer with a couple of hits today, fouls that one back. Behind in the count, 0-2. If you're wondering, the Padres have the 7th youngest roster. Hosmer today with only his second multi-hit game here in the month of July. Looking for his first 3-hit game in quite some time. Not going to get it here, though, as he strikes out, and Davis strikes out the side in the top of the 7th inning. On this Sunday afternoon, we'll keep it right here for God Bless America. Let's turn things over to the public address announcer here at Citizens Bank Park.
Fans, you're invited to sing along as violinist Sophia DeLong performs God Bless America. What did you think of young violinist?
Padres with a 5-run lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. Matt Strahm worked a nice easy 6th. Trying to do the same here in the 7th. And he just misses a little bit outside to Rhys Hoskins, who has been a thorn in the side here this afternoon. Solo homer back in the 1st inning, doubled and scored the other Philadelphia run back in the 5th. That was a ball, though, that probably could have, maybe should have been caught by Hunter Renfroe out in right field.
Yeah, also an earned run for Tyson Ross because of that scoring. I thought that was subject to interpretation, I'll say.
It's nicely said, very political. You're not going to offend anybody. Padres trying to get a win for Tyson Ross. They have lost 5 out of his last 6 starts, though not all of that on him, and certainly really good his last time out. Took the loss to the Dodgers despite the fact that he worked into the 7th inning, but 5 solid from Tyson today, and Strahm doing his thing as they try and bridge the gap to the back end of the bullpen. And Kirby Yates is pretty much the assumed closer at this point, but Andy Green has said, hey, I will use him in a high-leverage 8th inning situation, much the way he did with Brad Hand, if the situation warrants it. So it's not going to be a strict 9th inning role for Kirby Yates.
And you know what? Kirby's earned that. And I think that's the hybrid role that I think a lot of people and a lot of managers in the big leagues are using this day and age. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Strom even entered the equation of those high-leverage innings late in the game.
We will find out in due time. 2-2 popped up again out of play. Hoskins battling here. Strom came over in that trade with Kansas City a year ago. He was on the disabled list when the Padres acquired him from the Royals. Tore his patellar tendon in the knee. I liked one of the things he said last year. Just missing again, and now a full count on Hoskins. He said as a guy on the DL, and I think especially as kind of a younger guy, a little bit less established, it felt good knowing another team wanted him, you know, when he was hurt.
Well, that's what you have to do mentally, to know that you're getting traded, know that the other side definitely wants you in their organization.
3-2 to Hoskins, reach forward, grounded to third. Nice big hop for Villanueva. Christian's throw is high, and Hosmer can't make the play. Oh, Villanueva's flashed some leather in this series, including earlier today with Franco at the bat, but not this time. And an error on the Padre third baseman puts the leadoff man aboard here in the 7th.
No, Jesse, we've seen at times where he's unsettled about making that throw over. He has a two-seam grip, but he works underneath that baseball. Well, we've seen very good improved glove work, but the throwing at times, throws on the run, doesn't look as comfortable. Has a strong throwing arm.
Now a dangerous hitter in Odubel Herrera. More hits, more homers, and the highest batting average of any Philly this year. Also best batting stance. Fastball for a strike.
Well, Herrera's bounced into 8 double plays on the year. Getting rid of his sunglasses as the cloud cover. High open stance. You can see that left foot right on that line.
It's more conventional as the ball is delivered, but still, he's way out there. And this one fouled out of play.
Well, to me, with a guy with an open stance that drives that high leg kick, I think you have to command it in on his hands. He likes to get out front, but if you show that, you can speed him up a little bit, then you can expose him to the off-speed pitch down and away.
Talked about the 16 home runs for Herrera, Mike Trout, Charlie Blackmon, the only other center fielders with more this season. Just got a piece. Gonna need his sunglasses again. It's got very sunny around home plate. He discarded the shades at the beginning of the AB. Sunglasses technology has come a long way in baseball.
Sure has. You know, some guys don't like wearing them when they're hitting. I loved it because it relaxed your eyes.
Now the Clouds are back, and the 0-2 is grounded to the right side. It'll get through. That's a base hit. Hoskins will not attempt to run on Renfroe. That's probably a good decision. But the Phillies with 2 on and nobody out after an error and a single here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, the error looms large, especially the 2-strike hitting by Herrera. Guy on first base. That's an open invitation for hitters. And an easy hit if you can handle the barrel of the bat.
We mentioned Herrera's got 16 homers. Hoskins now has 15, as does this guy. Santana batting right-handed for the first time. Phillies are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position today after they went 5 for 11 in the game on Friday night.
Yeah, the majority of those for the Padres has come with 2 strikes, too.
Some big 2-out hits for the Padres as well. Good slider. And this time he gets that high strike, 1-1. Remember when the Fanatic was up here? And I was talking about the green fuzz being everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, here's some.
That's a lot.
Just
There he
found
is.
it. Yeah, he's down there
There's
now.
your buddy.
Yeah, he's fine.
That was a big kiss.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable kiss. You gave it a 1.
He's conducting the orchestra. Santana pops it up. Hosmer fighting that sun. And makes the play. Infield fly rule was called. That's a big first out for Strom here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 on, 1 away. Nick Williams coming up. There's the hair. It's hard to see, I understand. There's green fuzz. Got it?
I believe you.
It's all over my stuff. You.
I think
You're messy.
I think you should come up here and give you another kiss.
No, I'm fine. Williams had an infield single on Friday, snapped in 0 for 10. Today 0 for 1, but he does have an RBI, and he gets hit.
He had no attempt to get away from that pitch.
None whatsoever. Base is loaded, 1 out.
Yeah, I think Andy Green's going to ask him too.
Well, it's a little bit of a non-isolated situation. The Padres saw a bit of this with the Dodgers last week. Chase Utley, I mean, yeah, he's sticking it out.
Yeah,
it's not only that he's not trying to get out of the way, he's putting it out there.
When you have an elbow guard like that, that's what bothers me the most, because they have an understanding where that pitch is coming from. I think Andy Green has a legitimate gripe when it comes down to that.
Yep. They just never call it. So Williams puts himself on first base to load the bases. And a pinch hitter here against Matt Strom, the pitcher's spot.
And obviously that's not a reviewable play.
Altair started on Friday night, went 0 for 2 with a strikeout before he was double switched out of the game in the 4th inning. He has grounded into more double plays than any other Philly. Slider outside, 1-0. Not only is he grounded into more double plays than any other Philly, he's top 5 in the National League. 12 double play balls off his bat this year.
And because of that, Jesse, you can see has a big swing, leg kick, really has a tough time sinking all of his body parts out. That's the reason why you see the numbers offensively have gone down.
Good numbers with the bases loaded both this year and in his career. And ahead in the count. Here's the 2-1 from Strom, and that is ball 3. Darren Balsley on the phone. Stammen probably just about ready in that Padre bullpen. Altair swings and misses, strike 2.
Now that's got to feel good for Strom, and the reason why I say it, 3-1 pitch. confidence is in the hitter in that batter's box. He throws it right by him. Barrel underneath that fastball.
Payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Strom gets the pinch hitter to strike out. And now 2 away in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, big at bat, and we take a look pitch by pitch for Strom. He was struggling early, tried to maintain that changeup. That's a good fastball on the inside part. Missing and getting into that 3-1 count. This is the challenge, and then he rears back, throws the 4-seam fastball by him, and again for the big punch out for Matt Strom.
Got to figure in an ideal world, Andy Green would like Strom to get him through the 7th inning. Give Stammen a fresh 8th. Take it from there. Bases loaded, 2 outs now, and Kingery swings and misses. Grand slam earlier this year. Today, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He was the first guy Strom faced back in the 6th inning, and Matt got him swinging. Popped him up. Should be the inning as Asuaje goes back into very shallow right field and makes the catch. Phillies had the bases loaded, 1 out, and do not score here in the 7th. Mark Leiter Jr. out of the bullpen, now in his 3rd separate stint with the Phillies this year. He's been back and forth between AAA and the big club.
Very good splits against left-handers. You see the 130 average. Really has a lot to do with his commanding of the fastball. Not huge velocity. So many of these relievers in the game now, it's almost assuming that it's 95 plus.
Nice day for Hunter so far, trying to add on to it against the 2nd-generation Philadelphia Philly. Mark's dad pitched for the Phils. His uncle, of course, Al Leiter. Yankees, Mets, Marlins, Blue Jays. And his son is a big-time prospect as well. Pitching family, Toms River, New Jersey. And now 2-1 on Renfroe. Leiter's been a multi-inning guy, a fair amount for the Phils this year out of the bullpen. Big rip. And now a full count. Renfroe sends this one out to deep left field. Hoskins is running out of room, but has just enough to make the play, and that's the first out here in the top of the 8th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Well, when Freddie Galvis came to bat for the first time on Friday night, a lot of cheers. Second time, a few less, and then less and less and less as the weekend has gone on. Because all he's done is hit and hit and hit against his old team.
Yeah, 4 hits in the series already. Emotionally taxing, 5 hits.
3 on Friday, couple more today. Now behind 0-2. We were talking earlier about doubleheaders, and the Padres playing more doubleheaders in 1971 than any other doubleheader. And I'm sure you were wondering, today the 17th doubleheader all time between the Padres and the Phillies. That is Trevor Plouffe making the play. And game 2 of this doubleheader, of course, is coming up a little bit later this evening here in Philadelphia. This afternoon, back home in San Diego. Pregame coverage gets underway at 2:30 this afternoon. First pitch at 3:05. These are the 2 starting pitchers who were supposed to go in last night's ball game, Luis Perdomo and Vince Velasquez, who had his best major league start by far against the Padres a couple of years ago.
Yeah, big fastball they're going to have to contend with, but for Luis Perdomo, a pretty important start for him. He was sent down to AAA to make adjustments. I think the changeup is going to come into play today for him, but showing growth is going to be pretty important in the second game.
Quickly 0-2 on Villanueva. Kind of a big moment in the game, Christian's last at bat. He had a pop up into shallow center field, and the second baseman Hernandez couldn't catch it. That got a run home. He would come home to score a run. And the Padres really did take advantage of that Philadelphia mistake. This time he lines it to left field. That'll be another 2-strike hit for the Padres. And Villanueva aboard via base hit for the first time today. 2-out single. The 2-strike approach has really paid off all afternoon.
Yeah, there's been strikeouts for the Padre offense, but all in all, you're seeing a very improved approach with 2 strikes. I think Matt Stairs and Johnny Washington have to be very pleased with that type of approach.
So 2-out base runner for Hedges, who hunts fastball and fouls it away. Padres trying to even this series up after the Phils won on Friday night. Snap a season-long losing streak and feel good about themselves heading into game 2 of the doubleheader. This, though, should end the top of the 8th inning. Hernandez makes the play this time. And that's all for the Padres, who have the 5-run lead. the unexpected with Nissan's available Intelligent Safety Shield technologies. Innovation that excites by Sequan Casino. Opening in 2019, Sequan's brand new 300-room resort and hotel. And by your SoCal Mazda dealers. Corey Spangenberg into the game to play some third base. Andy Green with a double switch here in the bottom of the 8th inning. That means the pitcher will now bat 7th. And Corey will lead off in the top of the 9th inning. The new pitcher to go along with all of that, the veteran right-hander Craig Stammen. Trevor Plouffe to lead it off. Himself a double switch guy earlier in this game. Came on to play third base in the 6th inning. This is his second at bat.
Well, I think there were a few guys that needed the break. And I think Craig Stammen is in that category. The reason why, because he just takes the ball. I think he was wearing down a little bit in the first half. So I'm sure he got away from the game and feels energized.
His last outing was last weekend against the Cubs, and he went 2, struck out 5.
Well, he's the type of guy that's not going to say that I feel tired. I'm just going to take the ball. And that's an added bonus for Andy Green and his pitching staff.
Got him. Plouffe strikes out. And like Matt Strom in the 6th inning, Craig Stammen strikes out the first guy he sees here in the 8th.
Well, Andy's going to love that. Craig Stammen has that little slider, that biting slider that he loves to punch guys out. Perfect location because it starts on the outside edge and works off the plate for the big punch out.
Now number 9, hitter catcher Andrew Knapp. He is 1 for 2 with an infield single and a walk. Big time choke up on the bat, and he rolls it right over to Asuaje. And 2 away for Craig Stammen and the Padres in the bottom of the 8th inning. Boy, if Stammen can get 3 outs here, throwing only, 6 to 10 pitches.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would matter in a doubleheader.
I think Andy Green would like to stay away from doubling up on guys, but if you can be efficient, maybe get a couple big outs in the second game.
Yeah, you could come in situationally, that sort of thing. Stammen, longtime National League East guy with Washington. Jumps right on top of Cesar Hernandez. No balls and 2 strikes. A steadying veteran presence in that bullpen. Phil Hughes brings great personality.
Yes,
to the
he
group.
does.
They've learned that very quickly. Relief pitchers know how to have a good time, don't they?
They sure do. It's a chemistry that you have to have.
Strike 3 called to Hernandez, and it is a 9-pitch inning for Craig Stammen.
Yeah, pretty important. Freddie Galvis dumping this ball in, but Eric Hosmer taking the extra base. That's pretty important moving forward. This was the play of the 6th inning. Hernandez not seeing it with the glasses not on. Franmil Reyes draws the walk, and 2-strike hitting by Travis Jankowski for big 2-out RBIs. He gets caught going around second base, but there was 3-run 6th separating and giving the lead 7-2 for the Padres.
Clark Summit, Pennsylvania checks in. Corey Spangenberg back today from AAA. Bob told us earlier, Padres optioned Rafi Lopez back to El Paso. Spangenberg growing up about 2.5 hours north of here. It's Dunder Mifflin territory. Scranton area. Came in to play third base, bottom of the last inning, hitting for the first time. Corey now playing in his 66th big league game of the year. 21 games at AAA. With El Paso this year, he has hit .341 with 4 homers, 8 doubles, and 2 triples. Hits that one hard and the other way, and through for a base hit. So a leadoff single to the opposite field for Spangenberg here in the top of the 9th inning. And welcome back, Corey.
Oh, again, just a good approach by the Padres, and where it's pitched, hit that ball the other way for Corey Spangenberg, and a good leadoff single for the Padres.
Another RBI opportunity for Travis Jankowski. Just saw the big 2-run double back in the 6th inning. Trying to pick up his buddy over there at first base. Corey's certainly a stolen base threat. 5 out of 6 this year. Mentioned Leiter can be a multi-inning guy, and has been. And now the 5th time in his 11 relief appearances, he's going more than 1 inning. Really has been a sea change in the way relievers have been used. We talk about the closer maybe coming in the 8th inning, but it's almost had a trickle-down effect on the rest of the bullpen. 10 years ago, the roles were so strict, and they're just not anymore.
Yeah, a lot of communication about what inning you are settling in. A lot easier for guys to mentally manage with your manager. Nowadays, you just got to be ready. When that phone rings, take the ball and get ready.
That's another hard hit ball and another base hit for Travis Jankowski. Spangenberg's going to go first to third with ease, and the Padres are set up to add on here in the top of the 9th inning. Spangenberg getting it done.
Looked like a changeup to Travis Jankowski, and it was an elevated changeup. Sees it well out of the hands of Leiter. And with Spangenberg on first base, that's an easy hit and an easy extra base for Spangenberg.
So Spangenberg at third base, elite speed at first in Jankowski. And Carlos Asuaje at the plate. He's doubled twice in the ball game this afternoon. Padres 4 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. And a swing and a miss at the first pitch changeup, 0-1. Infield most of the way in for the Phils. Up the middle, they hope for a double play, it looks like. Suaje doubled and scored his first 2 times, struck out his last 2 trips. Sends this one in the air to deep left field. Rhys Hoskins got to race back. And he will make the catch, but another run batted in for Carlos Asuaje. Oh, big day. Spangenberg checks in now, 8-2 San Diego in the top of the 9th inning.
Well, good hitting because the first pitch changeup. Then he gets a fastball away and goes the other way with it. Good RBI situation and executing.
A lot of smiles with a 6-run lead in the top of the 9th inning. Now Will Myers with Jankowski at first. Will looking for his first hit of the day. And he launches that one out to straightaway center field. Herrera's going back. Nothing he can do with it. This thing is way out of here. Will Myers, a 2-run homer. There's his first hit of the day and his 9th home run of the season. 10-2 San Diego here in the 9th. First homer this series for the Padres, and that'll do.
Well, after first 2 hits Friday night in his first 2 at-bats, he has struggled, especially with the K. He leans back on this one. Right down the middle of the plate, and that's where it has to go. Absolutely launched for Will Myers.
Now Hosmer against Leiter, and he swings and misses at the first pitch curve. Padres with 3 hits in the inning. Jankowski got it going, and then Myers the 2-run homer after the Suaje sacrifice fly. You start again thinking about managing the bullpen doubleheader. You've used Strom. He went 2 innings. Can't imagine we'll see him in game 2. But, you know, Stammen only needed a handful of pitches to get 3 outs in the 8th. And assuming nothing crazy happens, you're not going to need any of your high leverage guys to get the final 3 outs of this game.
Yeah, you wonder if the lead stayed the way that it is before this inning. If Stammen would have gone back, now that's an easy manager decision by Andy Green. Shouldn't say easy. I think any decision is not easy for a manager. Easier.
Less complex. Fewer variables. Colton Brewer is the guy up and throwing. I look forward to him having the opportunity to pitch in Milwaukee next month. Ball in, 2 strikes on Renfroe.
It reminds me of a story because I played in Milwaukee and I had a teammate that was Jim Brewski, and he got announced on opening day and they went ballistic.
Yeah, that's really good.
Former Padre, Jim Brewski.
He and Brewer should do a podcast. First guess, Bernie the Brewer. Manfred takes a little bit off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Leiter, who's just trying to get off the mound any way he can. Padres have opened it up here, adding on late. Big 3-run 6th, and now 3 more in the 9th. And Renfroe reaches for that one, sends it through the left side, his 3rd hit of the day. Double and a couple of singles for Hunter Renfroe. And the Padres are refusing to yield here against Mark Leiter Jr. in the top of the 9th.
Frustration continues for Leiter, but also Renfroe handling the breaking ball with 2 strikes.
Padres doing a great job with runners in scoring position today, doing a great job when behind in the count, doing a great job with 2 outs. And now the 5th time this year they have scored 10 or more runs in a game. Two-run single in the first inning for Freddie, and he fouls this one back. First strike 1. couple of former teammates going head-to-head. Leiter was kind of in and out of the Philly rotation at times last year. Let's revisit our keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
Well, I wanted to have Freddie Galvis stay hot because of the 3 hits in the first game on Friday night. Then you see 2 today, hopefully 3. And Tyson Ross was very good, righted the ship. Slider was better as the outing progressed.
Leiter has thrown a lot of pitches here. Came on to start the 8th inning and had a relatively uneventful top of the 8th. Just a 2-out single to Christian Villanueva. But here in the 9th, it's come apart for him. And now another base hit as Galvis sends that one out towards right center field. Renfroe's going to end up at third base. And the Padres again continue to hit here. And now the 8th man to bat here in the 9th inning will be a pinch hitter, and it'll be Jose Perella.
6 hits on the series already for Freddie Galvis.
Rick Kranitz going to use up one of his allotted mound visits here to speak with Mark Leiter. I don't want you to worry, they have mound visits to spare. I guess every bench coach has their own system, huh? With the highlighters and the colors and the pens.
The Big Mac had that going on. I love the highlighter. See him very organized.
Keep track of who's available. Situations you'd like to use them in, that kind of thing. 40th pitch of the afternoon from Leiter is taken for a ball. Wow. Looked pretty good to Perella, but Leiter not getting the benefit of the doubt right now. Padres have already scored 3 here in the top of the 9th inning. Perella pinch hitting for the 2nd time in this series. He popped up in the 8th inning on Friday night. Hard hit but foul. A lot to like here this afternoon from a Padre perspective. Not done yet, obviously, but from an offensive standpoint, seen certainly some more consistent run-producing type hits, even going back to last weekend against the Cubs. They hit fine against Chicago.
Yeah, and you think about just taking the pressure off the pitching staff, too. I know the pitchers aren't going to complain about it, but Tyson Ross with 5 innings today. See Matt Strom with 2 really efficient innings. And then Craig Stammen coming on. I think Andy Green has to be pleased with the offense, but also them taking a little bit of pressure off. Let's see if they do that more in the second half.
Perella just got a piece of that one, stays alive. So game 2 of the doubleheader coming up. Coverage begins at 2:30 this afternoon back home in San Diego. And it'll be Luis Perdomo taking on Vince Velasquez with A.J. Ellis behind the dish. That's Sorrento Valley on the right.
I like the hat, though.
Perella reaches for that one and sends it out towards pretty deep right center field. And on the run, Herrera able to get there and make the catch. Padres add 3 more here in the top of the 9th inning. 2 of them coming on one swing from Will Myers, his 9th home run of the season. And the Padres take the big lead to the bottom of the 9th. game. Have a couple of options today, but let's go with Carlos Asuaje.
Yeah, why not? Carlos Asuaje, first couple at bats, both doubles. Scored 2 runs today. Also had the sacrifice fly. But the offensive attack today, 15 hits and 10 runs for the Padres, and led by Carlos Asuaje.
And all of that coming after the Fanatic mocked his height.
Yeah, he stepped on him
During pregame stretching and warm-ups. Rhys Hoskins to lead off against Colton Brewer in the bottom of the 9th inning. Fourth appearance for Brewer, who came on to get 1 out in the 8th inning on Friday night. Retired the only man that he saw. And a fastball at the top of the zone for a called strike to Hoskins, who was that one man that he saw on Friday. Hoskins has scored both Philly runs in the game, and he's out in front here, and a leaping grab by Spangenberg at third base. Oh, Corey just into the game last inning. Looking pretty sharp down at the hot corner. 1 away.
Well, that's a bullet off the bat, and the reactions of Corey Spangenberg. He looks like he can dunk. Maybe not.
Fanatic might disagree with you. Spangenberg singled and scored in his only at bat, and now in his only chance defensively. Comes up with a nice play and a nice pitch here to Herrera, swung on and missed. Wants to get a better grip. Kind of steps back, takes that one all the way, and Brewer not close. Phillies, as we've mentioned, came into today a half game in front of the Braves for first place in the National League East, and Atlanta just now getting ready to go in Washington. They're scoreboard watching here, even in July. Colton Brewer got 1 out and looking for 2 more here in the bottom of the 9th inning, as the Padres have put up 10 runs for only the 2nd time on the road this year. They got 13 at Colorado back in April. And they did it today with only the 1 home run. Myers in the top of this 9th inning. There is strike 3 and out number 2 here in the bottom of the 9th. Pinch hitter here for Carlos Santana. So Mitch Walding stepping into back for the Phils. Get Santana off his feet for just a little bit with a doubleheader coming up. And a nice breaking ball for a strike. Walding recalled from AAA on Friday and looking for his first big league hit. Phillies are down to their final strike here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Matt Strom, Craig Stam, and Colton Brewer doing a great job in support of Tyson Ross. And the offense was big today as he swings and misses, and the ball game is over. Padres end the losing streak, snap the Phillies' 5-game home winning streak, and they do it in style. San Diego 10 and Philadelphia 2. Game 1 is in the books. Another one coming up in a couple of hours. Padres Live, the post-game show next. Mike Pomerantz, plenty to talk about today.